A couple of episodes ago, I talked about the players on the offensive side of the ball for the Chicago Bears that are sleepers to watch in training camp. On today's episode, I'm going to flip that and look at the sleepers on the defensive side of the ball. This is not the names you guys are come accustomed to hearing, but names you guys should leave an ear out for to see how these guys perform in training camp. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Plus, we're going to dive into the mailbag and talk about the impact of everything from the defense to the roles to look at in free agency, all that type of stuff. We're going to talk about all that plus more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today. Y'all, I want to start off with talking about these sleepers to watch at every position on the defensive side of the ball. The number one, we're going to start off with the defensive end position. Now, we all know the defensive end has been a very much talked about position for the Chicago Bears. And it was a position that a lot of Bears fans were hoping to see this offseason, that the Bears are going to go out and attack more aggressively, try to get a big caliber edge in there. They did not. They're betting on internal development. That's from Austin Booker. They're hoping that Dayo Odeyingbo could bring a little bit more as well. But one player stood out in this, and this is a player that Ryan Poles has talked really well about, and that's Shemar Turner. Now, we know that when we drafted Shemar Turner, he was listed more as a defensive tackle. He did also play edge in college as well. And he only played a handful of games last season before tearing his ACL. And that was when transitioning from a tackle to an end on top of that. And so with Shemar Turner still working his way back from injury, he is going to be with a full training camp this offseason. You're probably going to see him get, a number of reps in preseason as well. If I know we talk a lot about Austin Booker, and no doubt about it, if Austin Booker takes a leap this season and is more of a double-digit sack guy, goes a long way for the Chicago Bears. But this guy that Ryan Poles once said had just as much potential as Colston Loveland and Luther Burden on the offensive side of the ball, if Shemar Turner starts flashing some of that potential this season for the Chicago Bears at the edge position specifically, it brings a lot. Now, I always say this, I'm not going to pencil in Shemar Turner just to making an impact on the edge. He can maybe do so at the defensive tackle too, but the edge needing the reinforcements that it did, especially even with Dayo Odeyingbo still not 100% healthy, Shemar Turner has a huge opportunity here to earn himself a role in regards to that. Now, I say this, right? The skill set that you look at for Shemar Turner, it may work better at defensive end. And if the Bears can really, and Dennis Allen and the defensive line coach can really cultivate that and get that out of Shemar Turner, that provides another answer. I'm not saying that he's going to be the answer at the edge position, but if he can provide some quality depth snaps for the Chicago Bears, I think it goes a long way in what the Bears are trying to accomplish this offseason. So Shemar Turner, the defensive edge, that's the one that I'm saying look out for in training camp. Let's see what we hear from him. Let's see what he's able to accomplish, because the more names that you get here that perform better at the defensive end for the Chicago Bears, the better that position group, of course, overall is better. And maybe the Bears don't have to spend that huge amount of money this offseason on the edge. We'll see what's going to happen in regards to that one. Next up, the defensive tackle position. And while I was almost, just naturally going to go Jordan Vandenberg here, I think, Jordan Vandenberg is no longer flying under the radar. I think a lot of Bears fans are looking at what he can bring. We've seen a lot of people talk about, what he can eventually be at that position. So I'm going to say Neville Gallimore here, right? And he's stepping into that position that Big Billings had, that same role that Big Billings had, is bringing in depth, right? The Bears didn't really change a lot for the starters at the defensive tackle, but they brought in somebody for depth like Neville Gallimore. And if Gallimore, brings that consistent depth that you need, it's good. He's coming off a career year with the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the last defensive lineman that we signed from the Indianapolis Colts was Dayo Odeyingbo. That has nothing to do with it, right? Now Neville Gallimore isn't some amazing run defender, so there's that part of it. But when you look at rushing the passer and what he did, he had 4 sacks in 2025 and finished the year with a PFF grade of 70.2. And, while that's kind of, mediocre for a starter, you're talking about bringing that in as a depth position. It can go a pretty good way for you, right? So I think that Gallimore has shown his ability to step up in a lot of ways. Also, and the Bears get a reliable veteran there to back up Grady Jarrett and Javon Dexter. I think Neville Gallimore is a guy that if he has a really strong training camp and then end preseason, and then that goes into the season. The Bears are trying to look at, getting to the quarterback more any way that they possibly can. And so Neville Gallimore has the potential to bring some of that to this Bears team, that they're at a need, right, a skill set need that they have. And we'll see. I think that with his size, the strength that he has there, is going to be a really big role for Neville Gallimore. And so he's the guy that we're looking at there. The linebacker position, there's a lot of names you can listen here at linebacker, right? Of course, we know TJ Edwards, a starter. Devin Bush, a starter. DeMarco Jackson, what he did last year, he stands out. I could have picked Jack Sanborn here. Could have picked Ruben Hippolyte there, but I'm actually going to go with the rookie, Keyshaun Elliott. And I think that if Keyshaun Elliott, he goes, to coming into this spot and being able to really kind of stand out for the Chicago Bears, any type of flashes that he shows is going to be great, right? And I think from now, like, when you talk about that, like him learning behind DeMarco Jackson, him learning behind Devin Bush, him learning behind TJ Edwards, right? The Bears selecting him in the 5th round was looked at as a very solid pick. He's a dependable tackler, which is really good. He can get downhill pretty well. And I think when you look at the linebacker spot for the Bears and how many injuries that we had there, there's a chance that he's going to have a really big opportunity. You look at guys like Noah Sewell already starting off the season hurt. In regards to that, we still don't know the status of TJ Edwards and, what he's projected to play at the start of the season or not. I told you guys before, there's a chance that TJ Edwards maybe misses a couple of weeks at the start of the season. He's probably going to miss some preseason games for sure, but he can also miss some games at the start of the season also. And if that happens, it can open up an opportunity for the Rook, to have some chances here earlier than expected. And what he does with that really can make a big difference in how he's viewed and what he looks at doing for the rest of the season. So Keyshaun Elliott is my sleeper there at the linebacker position. And I say, don't sleep on the kid, right? I get it. As a rookie, with all the veterans that we have at the linebacker spot, it can be very difficult for him to crack that rotation in a meaningful way. But I think he has the skill set. I think he brings that tackling and that speed that Dennis Allen wanted to add to that team. And also, I think as a run defender, he has really good instincts in that and being able to shoot those gaps. So I think that's going to be something that you really see well for Keyshaun Elliott into this season. At cornerback position, a lot's been talked about Tyreek Stevenson. A lot's been talked about Malik Muhammad, so much so that I don't even know if we can label Malik Muhammad as a sleeper. So I'm actually going to go Terell Smith here. Terell Smith, people will remember, like, he was a 6th-round pick in 2023. He, competed for that cornerback 2 starting spot with Tyreek Stevenson. They ended up splitting that spot up till last year. We had that knee injury in last preseason and missed all of the 2025 season. And so now that he's had basically a full year to recover, that's what Terell Smith has had, a full year to recover. Coming back into this, we already know that Tyreek Stevenson isn't like firmly in that cornerback 2 role. Even with that, with the injury of Kyler Gordon as well, it opens up some more opportunity there also. And when you look at the workout videos that he has posted also, he looks like he's going to be ready for training camp. So I think that Terell Smith is better in zone schemes, right? That's what we've seen from him so far. But I think at the same time, don't count him out, right? That's why when people are asked, like, why are we not talking about Terell Smith more in this? It's because of the way that Dennis Allen schemes it. But I think that cornerback 2, that competition is going to be really big. And Terell Smith has just as good of a chance as anybody else to come out of that. And so I think that even if he doesn't win the cornerback 2, with the way that Dennis Allen likes to have those defensive backs out there, this could be a bounce back year in a major way for Terell Smith. And I hope that it is. All right, let's get into the safety position, right? My natural inclination was going to go Cam Lewis, right? That was my natural inclination to go there because of his ability to play corner, his ability to play safety. I think that's going to be a really big one in this one. But when you look at the way that the Chicago Bears completely overhauled their safety room last year, right? A guy like Skyler Thomas, who was an undrafted rookie out of Oregon State as well, right? You look at him, 49 college games, so he brings some experience as well. He's 6'2". He has that bigger safety. We know that Dennis Allen likes those bigger safeties as well. I think when you look at him in the matchup that he can have against those wide receivers and tight ends, again, to go back to how many defensive backs Dennis Allen likes having out on the team as well. I think when you look at this, like, he has the potential for, because of the scheme fit, to really stand out in a big way for the Chicago Bears in this competition. So I think that Skyler Thomas, look out for him. And again, when I say look out for these sleepers, I'm not saying or making some deep take that they're going to take a starting position or they're going to play 50% of the snaps. I'm just saying looking out for players that, you may not expect that can actually make an impact for the Bears in the context of what their role is. And we'll see if any of these guys stand out. But let me know who's some of your sleepers on the defensive side of the ball. Do you agree with any of the guys I list? Let me know that down below. With that said, though, Courtney Cronin has talked a little bit about the Chicago Bears and what they're looking for going into training camp, and how if training camp doesn't unlock some players, we can be seeing the Bears go back out and try to acquire players at different positions. Saying this, the Bears got younger and faster and more aggressive when they brought in linebacker Devin Bush and overhauled their secondary, which will feature a new safety duo in Coby Bryant and Dillon Thieneman. How quickly these new additions learn to gel in the defense that led the league in takeaways but struggled to rush the passer and stop the run will determine the strength of this unit in 2026. There's a big opportunity for Booker, Odeyingbo, and Turner to keep Chicago's front office from dipping into the pool of free agent edge rushers once the pads come on in August. After only adding depth along the D-line this offseason, the Bears believe the answers for their pass rush problem are already on the roster. So Courtney Cronin alluding to here that if somehow the Bears come out of training camp and aren't necessarily happy with their pass rush, that then they can go and dip in the free agent market. Now, if you guys have been watching Chicago Bears Central for a while, you know that I've been saying this for quite a while. And I don't even say that necessarily to toot my own horn, because I think it was obvious, right? Like, we've seen this from Ryan Poles before. He'll go into training camp, he'll give guys opportunities, and when he sits down with his coaching staff, and if they say that they don't feel confident in a position group, then he may go out and get something done with that, right? We saw that with Yannick Ngakoue, right? Like, Yannick Ngakoue, like, went out and got him after giving some guys opportunities to step up in training camp, and they didn't do it. So then they brought in a veteran. So while I know the veteran pool in free agency has really been wilted down quite a bit, don't overlook the fact that if this coaching staff isn't happy with their pass rush, it doesn't mean that this is going to be the final version of it. Now, how aggressive is Ryan Poles in that? Is he about just going out and pulling out the best guy, that veteran that's in free agency right now? Is it about, would he be more open to making a big trade? That we don't really know. I don't think we're going to see trades until closer to the trade deadline personally, but that doesn't mean that it's not a possibility of that happening. It really just comes down to what Ryan Poles wants to do with this team and how confident his coaching staff is. He works in tandem with the coaching staff. And so if they go to him and say, listen, we don't feel good about this or that, then he's going to listen to that group. We just got to see what that's going to mean overall for this team and what happens with that. But let me know what you guys think on that part down below. With that said, it is Friday. That means it is mailbag day. Let's go ahead and get into these voicemails that we have for today. This one's for my brother Darius.
What's going on, guys? Darius from Dallas. I'm just finally catching up on that Saturday mailbag episode. Great episode there with Haize and our guy C-Dub. I wanted to talk about Ben Johnson because y'all brought up some stuff that really kind of made me look forward to seeing what he can do this year with this in the aspect of, as everybody knows, Haize has made it very clear that I was wrong about Ben Johnson, and I was. I think he's done wonders with what his strengths are, which is getting that offense together. And he's blown me away with the amount of leadership that he's shown me so far. Now, this season, I want to see, does he have, what's that next level of leadership that guys like Lovie Smith was not able to reach? You go back and you look at Lovie, he's one of the better coaches within our organization's history, so that's why I bring him up. And he was always able to capitalize on his strengths, making sure that defense was on point with that Tampa 2, getting the takeaways that we had. Of course, we had great players within that system to help that, but he was really good at what his strengths were. But he could never reach that next level of leadership to make sure that he gets the other side of the ball to respond. That's a little bit out of Lovie's comfort zone to at least hold the offensive side accountable, and that's ultimately what got him fired. He got fired after a year where we had 10 wins. And I think that was just solely due to the frustration of not getting the other side of the ball together. So I like hearing things about Ben Johnson being in the defensive meetings a little bit more. I think that whether we realize it or whether just the fans realize it, I do think that Ben Johnson is at least putting Dennis Allen on the hot seat. He's probably never going to come out and say that, but he is watching that defense very closely this year, and I'm just excited to see, is he going to get the defensive side of the ball to respond next, because that'll put him in a super elite category of coaches if you can do that. I think that's the difference between the guys that just look like really good offensive coordinators and guys that, end up being Hall of Fame coaches. And so I want to see that. I want to see him take that next step as a coach. And can he put that same effort and energy into I know Dennis Allen is the one implementing the scheme, but can he hold that defensive side of the ball Can he hold them accountable enough to get us some results this year? That'll be the next thing we need to see out of Ben. That'll completely take me over the hump with him. But let me know what y'all think, man. Take us up there down.
I definitely hear where you're coming from, for sure. And I do think that that's why Ben Johnson hired Dennis Allen, is that he hired somebody that's a veteran, that you know the standard that he's going to set with those type of things. But as you said, Ben Johnson is keeping tied in with the defense. He is keeping his eye on the defense as well. He isn't just leaving that side of the ball to Dennis Allen, right? But I will say this, and Darius, this is something that I think you do. It's the second year of Dennis Allen. You're talking about somebody being on the hot seat. Nobody's on the hot seat in year 2, not quite yet. And I also think that saying that, is Ben Johnson going to get that together? I think you're overlooking the importance of your defensive coordinator. He trusts his position coaches. Now, that doesn't mean that Ben Johnson isn't going to keep an eye on it. It doesn't mean that Dennis Allen can't eventually be on the hot seat. But in year 2, after the first year, you exceeded expectations as a team. Yeah, the defense was struggle last year, but don't think that the coaches don't overlook how the injuries plague that team as well. I don't think anybody's on a hot seat. I think every time you make a good point, it always comes with, and I say this as a brother to you, it always comes with some type of overreaction to something. Just calm down. Nobody's on the hot seat yet. And I do think Ben Johnson does have to stay connected with that defense and know what the defense has going on. But at the same time, that's why you hire people that you trust to do their job, right? And so it's that job of Dennis Allen to get that defense together. And Ben Johnson is going to hold Dennis accountable, but it is up to Dennis Allen to get that group together. And let's see what happens in regards to that part of it. All right, let's get into this next voicemail, man. This one that we have is from Mike.
Fellas, CBC, what's going on? The best show on YouTube when it comes to them Chicago Bears, man. Just checking in to see how you boys are doing. Hey, look here. This is Mike, the Bear fan. And I guess it's something I just want to kick around just for conversation, man, because we all waiting on the season to start. And I know we all like to have things to talk about. So I had a thought. Now, Haize, you could probably help me out with this one. I'm not sure when Caleb and Rome are due for contract extensions. And the reason why I'm saying this is because they both were drafted in the same year. Both of them were first-round picks. So I don't know when they're eligible to get paid, but I don't think they can pay them both at the same time. Because whatever money the Bears have, Caleb Williams is going to get the lion's share of that money. He is going to get that money. And so do they let Rome possibly go to the fifth-year option? Do they exercise a fifth-year option on him? Especially if he doesn't distinguish himself as the best wide receiver in the wide receiver room. My thought is, if he doesn't distinguish himself and he's just as good as the rest of the guys and he's not really above them, my thought is they might not bring him back because he has not been Johnson's guy. He's not his guy, man. And again, if he doesn't distinguish himself as like the best receiver at that time, I'm thinking they might let him walk, because if they let him go to the fifth-year option, by that time you're going to have other players that you have to pay. And so I don't know how this is going to work out contractual-wise, because again, I'm not sure when they are eligible, when you can extend them or whatever. But they both will be due at the same time because they both first-round picks in the same class. So again, what you think they're going to do with Rome, man? My feeling is that, man, they might not bring him back, man. If some other receivers have stepped up and they're looking just as good as he is, they can take that money they was going to pay him and spread that around to the other players that's going to be due by that time. So, just a little food for thought. Again, just something to kick around and talk about. So let me know what you guys think about that, man. Is Rome in danger of not being here in a few years? Okay, Chicago up and Bear down. You guys have a wonderful week.
Yeah, so you got to keep in mind that it's different. Caleb Williams is going to get his early contract extension this year, which does not forgo the last couple of years. It just means that you can sign him to an early contract extension. Rome Odeyingbo is probably not going to get his until closer to the end of his contract. It's probably going to be another year after Caleb Williams gets his, and you can pay both of them. Like, the money still has to go somewhere, but I do agree with you in the sense that if Rome Odeyingbo disappoints, right, and I don't think it's necessarily like, if Luther Burden ends up taking over as the wide receiver one, and Rome Odeyingbo is a perfectly good wide receiver too, I don't think the Bears are just going to jettison him off because Luther's better than him, because you want to keep, like, again, the thing that I always say with fans and the thing that we do sometimes is you don't understand that you want to operate from an area of a plethora of talent. You want the most talent possible. In the time that you move a player that has talent, you're just creating another question where you could be spending that time and those assets and answering a different question that you already had on your roster. So I don't think that he's not going to get an extension at the same time as Caleb Williams because quarterbacks are handled a little bit differently. Caleb's probably going to get his early extension at the end of this season, and then Rome's probably going to get his a season after that, and that's perfectly fine, right? And the whole thing of not a bin guy, like technically Caleb isn't a bin guy, like we realize that, right? Like technically Cole Kmet isn't a bin guy, right? Like so TJ Edwards wasn't a Ben Johnson guy, he got an extension, so it comes down to I think sometimes fans have more of a thought process of, oh, this coach didn't bring in that guy. And not to say that there isn't some of that. Usually it leans more towards stylistically than just because he wasn't a guy that you brought in. It means that it's not a guy that you want to keep on your roster. But we'll see what happens. I think Rome, it comes down to how much more consistent is Rome, and how much was that Rome that we saw through the first 5 or 6 games last season. And we see that version of Rome more consistently this upcoming year. I think that's going to be important for Rome and for the Chicago Bears. All right, let's get into this next voicemail, man. This one's from Keys.
Yo, what's the deal, fellas? It's your boy Keys, man. Hope all is well with you and yours. With that being said, let's get to it. Haize, I've been thinking, and I'm just excited for the schedule. For the season to start, everything of that nature like that. And I potentially think that we have a team that can go 12-5, right? And the division. And you look at the NFC North. It's going to be a headhunter for sure. Everybody trying to take over the division. Everybody going to try to win it and do their thing like that. But I think what could separate us is the offense that we have. Of course, we all know that. But I do think we will improve a little bit better on defense, which everybody knows is the elephant in the room. Are we going to improve on defense? Are we going to be able to make plays? Are these 2 safeties going to come in and replace the other 2 that we had? Are the linebackers going to do this? Is the D-line going to be effective to not only stop the run, but get to the quarterback? You know what I'm saying? So that's a lot of questions, but I think ultimately, I think with the team that we have overall and, just every position in every place, I think being aggressive, and fast attacking defense is what's going to help. Because when you have those guys implementing, say, a Jordan Vandenberg and a Montez Sweat and Austin Booker and, TJ Edwards and Devin Bush and, you know the roster, man. I think it's going to benefit a little bit more. All we have to do is just stop them. I'm not scared of the Green Bay Packers. Fuck them. Minnesota, Kyler Murray, we'll see how effective he be. We know that Kevin O'Connell has been good with getting quarterbacks back on track, as we've seen with Sam Darnold. So we'll see how that go. But I don't think they good in certain spots, but I'm not afraid of them per se. Detroit, that's the one team that is our Achilles heel. We haven't beaten them. And we played them close in that second game, but their offense is very, very good. Their defense is okay. I don't think it's nothing that is like overwhelmingly, but they do got Aiden Hutchinson, and all of that. But I think if we can end up being 500 or 4-2 in the division, that'll help us out tremendously because that schedule we got is going to be rocking and rolling, and we got a chance to be 7-2 by the time we get to the 5. But as far as that, I look at breakout guys. Luther Burden is on the head and stone. Like for me, I think he's just going to do his thing. But also, I'm interested to see what Jaden Loving does for D-line. So let me know what you think. As always, shots on up, bear down, man.
It's way too early to predict the division, right? And I get it on paper. You can try to guess and all that, but like what we've seen before is that almost every team in the North made major changes on paper. And the thing that happens is that the changes on paper don't always look that way once you get on the field, right? I think for the Bears, I'm not worried about, can we win? Just go out there and play your best and whoever's in front of you. Play that opponent who's in front of you, improve the things that are in your control, and then win as many games as possible, right? The division in the North is going to be wild. It's always wild in the North, and we're the deepest division in football. So, trying to predict this division can go a lot of different ways, injuries and things like that. So I'm not even getting into that because there's so many different ways this division can go this year. But I am saying this. Come into this, beat everybody who's in front of you, play well. And as far as the breakout players that you mentioned, there are so many breakout candidates on this team from top to bottom because we do have a lot of talent on this team. It's up to the coaching staff and the talent themselves to get us to where we want to be. Let's see if that happens this season. All right, let's get into this last voicemail, man. This one's from Fred.
Hey, yo, Haize, what up, though? What it do, man? It's me, your boy Fred, man. Shout out to the Cognac boys, Bobby and C-Dub, Big Kev and Steve-O, man. I'm calling, man, 'cause I'm glad they finally put some respect on the Bears, you know what I'm saying, as far as, like, with Caleb Rankin and with, you know, our running backs as well, too, though, man. And with the offense as well, because it's crazy how, you know, the disrespect just keep on coming, though. Like, they need to put some respect on our team name, you feel me? So, I'm just calm down, man. Can't wait till the season start. I'm just more, you know, concerned about, you know, how the defense gonna look and, you know, see how they gonna dominate. Like, now, if our defense get at least like ranked at 11 or 10 this upcoming season, I'm okay with that. That shows they made a big change and big improvement on everything. And also, I'm definitely looking to see if Luka Burton gonna break out. You know, because they saying he might have a breakout season though, but I'm just waiting to see off his actions. You feel me? So, and you know, I'm looking to see like now that Terell Smith that he's healthy. You know, I'm waiting to see who's gonna get that CB2 position because it's definitely gonna be interesting because you got Tariq as well. You know, hopefully maybe Tariq you know what I'm saying, get it together because I'm not gonna lie. At one point, I was big on Tariq Stevenson. I thought he could be that corner though, but then it's like Tariq got to start doing no dumb shit. And, you know, he lost focus and, you know, and the coaches and them lost confidence in him. So hopefully, you know, either him or Malik Muhammad or Terell Smith, they be that starting cornerback, that CB2 on the opposite side of Jalen. And hopefully, man, Kyler Gordon stay healthy because I'm not going to lie, it's like we paid him this money, then like we get a few games out of him, then he gone damn near half of the season. So, like, I can't blame Ben Johnson saying that, you know, he don't trust Kyler Gordon right now. And I get it. I understand where he's coming from. So, yeah, I'm just looking forward to our team overall just being healthy and making a deep run in the playoffs because there's no excuse why not, you know what I'm saying, we can't make a deep run in the playoffs. So, and I'm looking forward to that, you know, our team just having success on offense and defense and special teams. Now, I will say this, though. I do believe Noah Sewell, Roshan Johnson, and maybe Elijah Hicks, they probably get cut. And someone else so far, though, they might, you know what I'm saying, be off this team, though, come training camp. So let me know what you think, big dog. Chicago up, bear down to nothing. Chicago versus everybody, and FGB.
Tyreek Stevenson has tons of potential, right? And that's why when, you know, people were kind of all completely out on Tyreek, I'm like, let's chill. Let's pump our brakes. I think it went too far left. But Tyreek has been, you know, inconsistent, right? There's been times and stretches where Tyreek has looked absolutely great, but there have been times where he didn't. Now, I do think the coaching staff, you know, when they admitted last year that they benched him when they shouldn't have, I think that says a lot about the coaching staff. I think that says a lot about that there's still belief in Tyreek Stevenson here, despite what some fans will tell you. And it's just about figuring it out. The Bears got to go out there and figure it out. But it is going to be a battle because Terell Smith is back. Malik Muhammad's in that building, right? And so Tyreek Stevenson is going to have one of his best seasons to show and prove that he's a guy that the Bears still need to be invested in. And we'll see, because it's all coming at the same time where his contract's up at the end of the year. And we'll see what that means for the Chicago Bears and for Tyreek Stevenson. But that's going to do it for today's episode, man. I want to thank everybody who called in, left a voicemail. I want to thank all you guys for watching the show. Make sure you guys sound off in the comment section how you feel about everything from the sleepers to the Bears potentially, if they don't feel confident in coming out of training camp, to go out there and get another edge. And what do you guys think about everything overall in the state of it? How excited are you about training camp and preseason being right around the corner? Ball day is coming soon, man. But make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode or an upload. You can follow us at Bull Central Pod on every social media platform. You send us any feedback. Oh, wrong podcast. You can follow us at Shy Bear Central on every social media platform. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.